I mean, really, the 67% is too high. You don't even need 67%. The 67% rule really, I think, came about because if you wanted to practice in any jurisdiction, you had to score at least a 280 and just get a 280. And this is old rules, not post-COVID, not modern times. Okay, the highest bar exam you need right now in a UBE state is a 270. But back when I took the bar exam, you wanted to aim for at least a 280 and you wanted to have a little bit of wiggle room. So like the 288 is kind of where you want it to be. And that is a 67% on the bar exam with scaling. And let me explain why. And it's time for some bar math. Now, before we look at this, part of it is because there's always been confusion about how do you determine what is 67%. The bar exam itself really is worth 200 points. However, there's a 25 points, 25 questions removed from the bar exam. So it's always been like, how do you calculate it? So someone somewhere decided, well, we'll just do it out of 175. Assuming that each MBE point is worth 1 point. That's not quite right, but let's just go by that theory. The reason why you actually need a lot less than 67% to pass is because if you get 67% under this theory of passing, you're going to be fine. So let's go look at it. Now, this is a theory of there's only 175 questions because they removed 25. If you get 67%, you have to get 117. You get 117 MBE. Like 170 questions is what you need to get right on the bar exam to pass the bar exam in theory, in a 270 state, by the way. Okay, but a lot of people do the math based on 267%, which is an unscaled score of 134. Now, JD advising scaling is usually be 14 and 16. My February bar exam was a 11 scale. So we're going to look at what a difference it makes here, depending on how you do the calculation. If you're doing it out of the 200, which technically it is 200 because every MBE question is worth slightly more than 1. That's how they do it. But anyway, let's look at it this way. If it's a 10-point scale, we're looking at this. If it's this, we're doing this. For this calculation, we're using the 11-point scale because I know I can scale my bar exam based on that number. So once we have this number, and I did a 270 state, we can come over to this number, okay? So as you'll see here, like this is 270 minus this amount gives, whoop, I'm leaning over and making lots of zeros, gives us what we need to know to pass. So if I have 11 points scaled, that's a 128.25 MBE scaled score. That means I need to get a 142 scaled on the writing portion, okay? So then that brings us over, let me fix this. That brings us over here. Again, these is UBE states, it's for 200 points, it's usually a 60-40 split. We already did all this math in the other video. Okay, so 67% on an MBE means you got 13.4 points. That is a 4. That is passing, which is 67%, okay? Again, 40 for an MPT. 67% is a 4. You are getting a D on your MEE or MPT if you're getting a 4. Okay? So passing is a 4, which is a 67%. And oh my gosh, my cheeks are red because it's hot and I will not be using the stuff on my cheeks. Okay, so then we're doing more bar math, taking our D score, our 67% in both of these things, doing the scaling according to what it was for February 21, that gives us this, a 133 raw score and a 144 written score. So then even if we look at our unscaled, scaled, and scaled resorts, unscaled and scaled, we're scoring at least a 267 unscaled, and we all know the bar exam is scaled. So that means I'm scoring a 288.1, getting a 67% across the board on the bar exam, a 288.1. Okay, and then let's just say we use the more harmful, only 175 scale, which isn't how things are. Unscaled, I'm getting a 250. Oh no, but scaled, I'm getting a 271. So I'm passing the bar exam. And this is a very harsh way of approaching this, and that's not the way it's really done. But I'm giving you both examples so you can see how 67%, even under the most harshest light, is still passing. And that is an 11-point scaling only, which is fairly rare. Okay, bye. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. That's why 67% is kind of out there. That's why I always say you just need a D to pass.